All right, guys, welcome to Ram It Radio. My name is John. It's my first episode that I'm putting out, so definitely appreciate any likes, comments. Definitely subscribe, and just future tips on how I can keep getting better. But I love the Rams, and I'm here to continue talking about my team and talk about them as much as possible, and wish them a great season this year. Today, I want to talk about the offensive line. I want to start off by talking about the offensive line and just go into some of the snaps or some of the offensive linemen that played last year and what percentage of snaps that they got to play. At center, we had Coleman Shelton. He played 1,114 snaps last year at center, 97% of the snaps on offense. At guard, we had left guard with Steve Avila. He played 1,148 snaps. That's 100% of the snaps on offense. Really consistent last year. We want to see that again out of Steve. And we all know, especially last year, how difficult the offensive line, seeing them go down and, how trying that was on the offense. Right guard, we had Kevin Dotson. He played 882 snaps as a new addition, 76% of the snaps. At tackle, we had Alaric Jackson. He had 969 snaps, giggity, 84% of the snaps. Rob Havenstein, he played 857 snaps. That's 74% for him. And the main backup was Joe Noteboom. He played 573 snaps. That was half of the snaps last year on offense. New additions, we're bringing in Jonah Jackson from Detroit. Really excited to see what he can do. The team is shown to be able to put these offensive linemen in good positions as long as they're healthy and able to stay healthy throughout the year. That's something that, it just happens, to get lucky, honestly, if you have a full 100% of the snaps like Steve Avila did. In 2021, Jonah Jackson, he was a Pro Bowler. He hasn't played a full season since, so that's exactly what I'm talking about, hoping to see some consistency, some health, honestly, out of Jonah Jackson and see him get back to form of a Pro Bowler, which would be huge. He's going to be coming in playing guard, that left guard position, because Avila is moving into center, which I'm sure most of you know. Jonah Jackson is coming off a meniscus tear surgery. Meniscus tear is a huge deal. Definitely any type of surgery is going to be a big deal, but meniscus is not the end of the world when it comes to knee injuries. He's definitely feel like Jonah is stronger in running situations, run blocking, getting out in front, being a pulling guard, getting out in space and hitting somebody. Get it when he gets to the second level. So definitely excited to see how the offensive line performs in those short and first type of situations. Short and first down, short and goal. It's going to be really exciting to get some meat in the middle of the offensive line. So projected offensive line for this year, left tackle, Alaric Jackson. He's 6'7", 345. Left guard, Jonah Jackson, the Jackson 2 right there on the left side. 6'4", 315 for Jonah Jackson. Then in center, we're going to have a big center for the first time in a long time. Steve Avila, 6'3", 338. He looks great at center. He played tons of snaps at TCU at center. On the right guard, we're going to have Kevin Dotson again, 6'4", 330. And right tackle, we're going to have Rob Havenstein, that's 6'8", 323. That's 1,651 pounds on the starting offensive line, projected starting offensive line. Not too many people think that there's a lot of battles happening on the starting O-line right now, so it's pretty set in stone who the starters are going to be. But that's a heavy offensive line. We're going to be able to finally move people up the middle. I know I was watching Sean McVay recently said how difficult it was, especially during the last Super Bowl against Cincinnati, to push people to go run and get a few yards to go get a first down. He brought up having to run literally a jet sweep to be able to pull first down with short yardage to go. So yeah, really excited to get some meat up there. It's going to be like nuclear bombs going off, especially when we're running up the middle. It's going to be exciting for Kyron and for Corum to get in there and get the ball and, just be behind some freaking meat grinders, honestly. Uh, Comparing to last year when we compared that center position, we had Shelton, who was a bit taller at 6'5" compared to Avila 6'3", but he was a lot lighter at 285. Which is going to be a huge difference when with Avila at 338, almost 340. We're talking about, anywhere from a 50 to 60 pound difference right up the middle at center. It's going to be huge. It's going to make a big difference, in my opinion. And with Avila having a really strong first year rookie campaign at right guard, getting moved into a center position, which he played a lot of snaps in college. Obviously, he's versatile. Obviously, he can come inside and outside as far as having to move to guard at any point in the season. So it's really good option to have there on the OL. I think Avila has a really good chance of being a top tier center this year. The way that he excelled in the run last year, I think it's going to be really important for him at the center position. And who knows? Hopefully he becomes a Pro Bowler in his first year. The NFC lost a really, really strong center who was eating up all the Pro Bowl spots for center. And we're going to be moving forward seeing, new people play that center position during the Pro Bowl and get that kind of recognition for themselves. So excited to see that. Excited that we brought in Jonah Jackson, who's a veteran, honestly, on the offensive line at the guard position. I think it's going to alleviate a lot of stress for Avila to know that he already has Dotson there, who's been there for a year, who understands the system. He has a new guy next to him who is a professional, who's been a Pro Bowler, who he's not going to have to worry about having to lean one way or the other when it comes to running, blocking situations, pass blocking, anything like that. And also, it doesn't hurt at all to have Stafford back and healthy running the offense. Stafford is extremely strong at pre-reads, calling his own protection. So that's something that isn't going to fall on Avila's shoulders, which I think is going to be huge for him in his second year and his first year playing at center. Jonah Jackson comes in, really hoping to see him get back to that Pro Bowl mentality, that Pro Bowl caliber that he has been in the past. The Lions have only gotten better those last few years, since 2021, the last time that he was a Pro Bowler. So excited to see him bring that kind of grit, that kind of nastiness to the team. Been watching Sean McVay talk a lot about the team, and the difference this year, it sounds like, is they want to be a nasty team. They want to be a team that can go in there, pound the rock, get a first down, and then blow the top off the lid. So it's going to be really exciting to have that kind of versatility on the offensive line, especially with Sean kind of cooking up some new stuff over the offseason. I know that all those guys are really excited to get onto the field. Okay, so I want to talk about the new rookies. I want to just give, my opinion on who I think are going to be the top 5 most impactful rookies coming into this year. So I'll start off with number 5, Cameron Kitchens, at safety out of Miami. He's youthful. He started as a true freshman. He graduated and declared after his junior year. So he's definitely going to bring some youth, someone that's going to have a couple of extra years in his career to be able to develop and get better. He's really quick on the ball. He had back-to-back All-ACC first teams as a sophomore and a junior. So he's coming off another first team All-ACC. 3-year starter there in Miami. He has great ball hawking skills. He showed this during his last season when he had 3 games in a row with an interception, which I think is huge. I think it's something that the secondary was missing last year. Definitely a lot of boom or bust kind of play on the secondary, which we all saw it. It can backfire. It can lead to great moments, but it could really backfire too. So the kind of skills that Kitchens is going to bring is he's going to be able to go be back there, play that kind of center field position, that over-the-top position, and really find balls in the air that who knows? If it's a 50-50 ball from the QB, he's definitely going to be a someone that can go up there and, you know, hit it, bat the ball, intercept the ball, you know, anything like that would be huge. Um, Number 4, Blake Corum, running back out of Michigan. Although we all definitely hope Kyren stays really healthy throughout the year. We saw what he could do when he could play really consistently. You know, he's RB1. Honestly, he has the capabilities to lead the league in rushing really when he's really healthy. And I think Blake is going to help make sure that we can see Kyren play in more games this year. And that's because this guy is an ace when it comes to scoring touchdowns. I've heard other people talk about him that, you know, he might not blow your mind when it comes to any of the combine stuff, when it comes to any of the other intangibles, but when it comes to putting the football past the goal line and into the end zone, there's no one better in the country coming out of college football than Blake Corum. He literally led the country in the he was literally the only college player to score in every single college game, and he broke the record for most touchdowns scored at Michigan last year with 28. He scored 27 rushing touchdowns, and he had one receiving touchdown as well. So we know that he can do that. He was on the Heisman watch list the last 2 years in a row just from scoring, from being able to put the ball into the end zone and score and, you know, be reliable for his team. He was, like I said, the only college player to score in every game last year. And when Kyren is healthy, I think that these guys could be an extremely dangerous 1-2 punch, especially if Kyren is playing, you know, from 10 to 10 or, you know, from our 10 all the way to the red zone, and you put Blake in there to finish things off or spell Kyren. It can end up looking really, really well for that running back team. Now, number 3, I'm excited to see Braden Fisk, defensive tackle out of Florida State University, and he has the unfortunate opportunity to come in and replace the greatest defensive tackle to ever play the game, and Aaron Donald. We're all going to miss 99. No one is expecting him to be 99, so hopefully he doesn't take it as a weight on his shoulders and more of a freedom to just go be himself, because none of us are expecting them to put up AD numbers. We just need 1 to 2 people to come in, step in, and bring that kind of pressure, you know, stop a run once in a while. Just be strong on third down, honestly, is what we're looking for out of any defensive tackle that's playing this year. But with him coming in, being able to play with his boy again, who I'm going to touch on next, but the thing is that Braden is really fast. He has a high motor. He doesn't give up on plays. Shula is going to be playing that 3-4 formation. So Braden's going to be playing right there, that kind of nose tackle position. And he has that skill to be able to play nose and play east to west on the line. So, and number 2, Jared Verse, edge out of FSU. He's quick. He has a good stutter step swim move from the tape that I was watching, which was really exciting. He's relentless when it comes to tracking down the ball and whoever has the ball. There was a play against Florida where he broke through the middle. He blew up the play. He missed the tackle on the running back. The rest of his defense rallied around him, kept the running back behind kept the running back behind the line, honestly, and Jared Verse was the one to get back to him, and seal up the tackle for loss, which I thought was huge. That was his game of the year, best game of the year. It was against the in-state rivals. Florida was a top 10 team at the time, so it was definitely him stepping up in one of those big moments, which I think is going to translate really well to the NFL. He has a high motor. He's hungry for sacks. He's not going to give up on a play. He's going to make 3-4 moves on a play to get past the tackle, which we've seen some of these NFL plays. They either happen in a second, they're either happening really quickly, or there's some kind of extension happening in the pocket from the quarterback. And Jared Verse is going to be one of those guys that's not going to give up after a quarterback makes 1 or 2 moves to buy some time. He could also be an asset on special teams. which I think is going to be one of the main reasons that he's such an impactful first round pick for the Rams, which we all know we haven't had one in a really long time. And I say that because he's coming off back-to-back seasons at FSU with having a block kick on special teams, which is going to be awesome. And at number one, the number one rookie, tell me if you're shocked, Josh Carty out of Stanford, new kicker. He holds the record for most field goals made in a single game at Stanford. He actually single-handedly won that game, and that was against their in-state rivals. That was against another conference rival of ASU that they were playing. He scored the 5 field goals there, and they won the game 15-14, which is just crazy, honestly. He hit 11 field goals from 40 plus. He's hit from 56 yards away. He has the most field goals made in a single season with 23. He went 23 for 27 as a senior, hitting 85% of his field goals. And he was, in fact, an 85% career his whole time at Stanford. My fellow Ram fans, man, I know you guys remember the aches and pains of seeing the kicking game last year. I was there against the game against Pittsburgh, and that was absolutely heart-wrenching. Just seeing how we absolutely could have continued that game into overtime or even won that game with some of these field goals being made and not giving such great field position to Pittsburgh in that game. So excited to see if Josh can go out there, continue his consistency, continue, what he's shown at Stanford, and score a lot of points, honestly, for the Rams. And I want to dive into the hype around the team. I know we're all seeing it. Training camp just opened up. I'm really excited. Obviously, all the talking heads on TV are really excited. The offense is going to be back to a form that we haven't seen in a long time, probably since the Super Bowl run. We're looking at an offense that's built to put up 30, 35 points a game, to be a number one scoring offense again. Stafford is still Matthew Stafford. He's going to do what he does. He's going to look deep. He's going to make reads. He's going to adjust at the offensive line. And he's going to put the offense and all the skilled position players in a really good position. With the beefier offensive line at the same time, it's going to buy him more time, we're hoping. And, give him more opportunities to throw the ball and, be standing up, which is going to be huge. He's going to be able to have these 2 top 10 receivers at full health again with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua both being ready, honestly, from what I've seen from the first couple days of training camp. Nacua is ready to go. Cooper Kupp is King Kupp. He's a professional. I always expect him to be fully prepared. So yeah, it's gonna be really exciting to watch the offense, especially with Kyren back at full health, getting a new weapon with Corum, and still having some guys from last year on the running back side that understand the offense and are going to be good backups, especially spells for our running back team. We also are going to have a new tight end, Parkinson, coming from Seattle. He's huge, 6'7". Unfortunately, we are probably not going to see Higbee early in the season, just him kind of still rehabbing, still getting healthy from that injury last year. But as far as what I'm thinking that our 2 wide receivers are going to be the bread and butter. Obviously, with Stafford kind of making the offense, live and breathe. But those 2 wide receivers on the outside, it's going to be really difficult for other defenses to be able to lock down both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp on opposite sides of the field, and having Stafford throwing the ball. It sounds extremely difficult to me. I'm really hoping to see Nacua build off of last year. He had almost 1,500 yards. He was at 1,486 yards last year. And then King Kupp, still with all the time he missed, he hit more than 700 yards last year. And I expect big things from our wide receiver 1 and 2 this year. Really hoping that they can put themselves into that elite group in the NFL of a wide receiver duo that both reach 1,000 yards or more. Um, Before last year, it was rare to see, but last year two teams did it with Miami and the Eagles. But before that, the Niners did it with Jerry Rice and T.O. So I'm hoping, and even kind of expecting the Rams to add to that list. Um, to talk about the running backs, definitely a young running back room, definitely a youthful running back room, but we've seen McVay really lean towards the younger running backs in his career here. We saw him move on from Gurley pretty quickly. Gurley had unfortunately had that injury that he didn't look the same, but he was also a bit towards the tail end of his career. And with everything happening in the NFL, the cap really that these NFL teams are putting on ages for these running backs that aren't extremely elite, we're seeing that those running back careers their prime window is a lot smaller and a lot earlier in their career. We don't have a big running back at all. There's no running back on the Rams that's over 6 foot. The heaviest running back is 210 pounds, which could be an issue, like I had brought up earlier, something Sean McVay said of not being able to just pound the rock up the middle and go get a first down when it's 3rd and 1 or less. That might rear its ugly head at some point in the season, but Kyron is a professional. He'll be able to do it. He looks really good on the outside zones, and his vision really his ball carrying vision really showed an improvement throughout all of last year, and hoping that Corum can really pick that up at the same time as well. The only positive, or the positive I've kind of thought of, is a smaller running back means a smaller hole needs to be open. And with these big boys up front, they should be able to open bigger holes than what have previously been open. So it could be, a strength and a strength going there. A small running back, a bigger hole. Sounds like there could be more space for these guys to get through and go get a first down. Outside of Blake Corum, outside of that, Blake Corum showed in college to be a professional at being able to put the football into the end zone. So really hoping that he, takes on that kind of role, that he can, continue that trend of his career into his first year of the NFL and his first few seasons with the Rams, and takes over that kind of position to eat up all those hits close to the goal line, and score some touchdowns for the team. Which, unfortunately, for some of you fantasy football players, it might eat up Kyron Williams' value, but I'm worried about bringing another Super Bowl back to LA and putting it back into the Rams locker room. Definitely youthful at the running back position. Like I said, we all hear that the 30-year-old running back is kind of obsolete or considered expired at this point of time. So just to kind of let you guys know the ages of the running back, we have Blake, Kyron, and Zach. They're all 23 years old. Ronnie Rivers, he's 25. And Boston Scott, he's the veteran of the group, and he's 29. Okay, perfect. So to go into the schedule and what I think the Rams, just my prediction for the year. Week 1, September 8th, we're going to be in Detroit against the Lions, revenge game. I think McVay has had an entire offseason to really see the shortcomings of that game, to go back into Detroit. I think the Rams walk away with a W for that one. Then going to Arizona, that should be a win. Then opening up at home against San Francisco. Back-to-back years is tough, especially as a SoFi owner and season ticket holder. I honestly think that one's going to be the first loss of the season. Then going to Chicago, the travel might be difficult, but Chicago's in shambles. They got the zesty quarterback rookie out there. I see that as a win, especially if it's going to end up, a quarterback battle with Williams versus Matthew. Stafford, I take Stafford 10 out of 10 times. Then we'll come back home against the Green Bay, the Packers. And I really want that one to be a win, honestly. They're coming here finally for the first time in a long time. I don't remember the last time the Packers played here in LA at SoFi. Man, I just know that we've had them. The Rams have had the Packers on their schedule a lot over the last few years, whether it's in the regular season or any kind of playoff game. And unfortunately, it's been at Green Bay, and it's really tough to go out there and win. So I'm expecting SoFi to show up on October 6th and for us to make it a really difficult environment for the Packers here at home. Week 6 is the bye. It's an early bye. It's going to be talked about for sure. It is what it is. But the good thing is that we get the Raiders at home right after that. The Raiders are in shambles. I have no idea what's going on in Las Vegas with them, but that's going to be a win for the Rams. Then we have a short week, Thursday night football against the Vikings. I see that one as a loss. It's just a short week that we're coming on to. JJ, he's probably the best wide receiver in the league right now. Nakua hopefully is going to give him a run for his money, especially at that point in the year for week 8. But I see JJ coming in, even though he doesn't have as good a quarterback that he's had, probably the worst quarterback that he's had, or worst QB situation he's been in his whole career. We can't win them all. So I'll put that one down as a loss. Week 9 against Seattle, at Seattle. I'm going to take that one as a win. Then week 10 versus Miami. I believe that one's the Monday Night Football. And we're going to have Miami here at home. I think that one is a win. It's going to be a shootout. It might be. I don't know if you guys were at the Rams versus Chiefs game at the Coliseum. I was there. That game was freaking crazy. You could cut the tension like it was Swiss cheese, like if I was out of a Tom and Jerry cartoon, with just the electricity in the air. It felt like a playoff game in the middle of the season for that game. Both teams put up 50 points, and the Chiefs still lost even though they put up 50. I don't know if both teams are going to put up 50 in this game versus Miami, but that's the kind of fireworks that I'm expecting out of that game, with the Rams taking a W. Then we'll go to New England, play the Patriots. We should beat the Patriots. They're looking for back-to-back, top 3 picks, honestly, this year with how things are going there. Week 12 versus the Eagles. We're going to bring the Eagles back. They're not going to have Jason Kelce. I was there for that game too. My seats are right on the goal line where the Eagles did that tush push on the goal line right before halftime. I don't see them being as successful at that play ever again without Jason Kelce being there. So hopefully that one is a win. I put that one down as a win against the Eagles. They really have been on a downward trend since they got to the Super Bowl. So hopefully that continues so the Rams can, step all over them and, push towards a strong playoff position. Then we'll be at New Orleans. It's definitely going to be a tough travel. We're going coast to coast. The Saints fans are crazy, and I just don't think the caliber of team that the Saints are fielding this year is going to be to the same caliber as the Rams. So I'll put that one as a win. We're going to come back home week 14 against the Bills. I put that one as a loss. It's late in the season. Josh Allen is best in December. We've all seen it. And the Rams, normally, they'll have these kind of tough losses at home throughout the year. Then week 15 will be at San Francisco, Thursday Night Football, counted as a loss, really not counting any wins on the schedule against the Niners with the history that it's been. It just doesn't make sense during the regular season. But if we meet them in the playoffs, definitely that's when we have their number. Then the Rams will be going to New York against the Jets. I see that one as a loss. Aaron Rodgers, if he's healthy, I wish all the players in the NFL a healthy season. God forbid any kind of terrible injuries. But Rodgers is going to be in a dogfight for probably the number 1 seed on the AFC. And he'll probably do really well at home. So I'll put that one as a loss. And then we'll have the last 2 games of the year, Week 17, Week 18. Both of those are to be determined still on what day, either the 28th or 29th of December, and then January 4th or 5th against Seattle. Both at home. Hopefully those get flexed into some kind of prime time, whether it's Sunday night football. which are definitely some of my favorite games to attend. So Cardinals, I think that's a win, and then we finish off the year. Depending how things are, if we're playing all of our backups because we've locked something up, it could be a loss if we're in a situation where the Rams are trying to push for that 1 seed. I definitely see the Rams taking that final game as a victory. But overall, my prediction for this year and the Rams record is 12-5. I do think that that is the most optimistic kind of outcome of the season. I don't see the team going, 13 or 14 wins. They'd have to go on a really, really long run to make sure that something like that happens. But who knows? It's the NFL's the NFL. Any given Sunday, like I'm sure you guys all have heard before, something can happen. But yeah, my bold predictions for the entire year that I'm thinking. Stafford definitely solidifies himself as a first ballot Hall of Famer by not only bringing a second Super Bowl in his tenure to the Los Angeles Rams, but having his third 5K passing and 40-plus touchdown season, and also producing two 1,200-yard receivers for the year. Other bold predictions, Steve Avila makes Pro Bowl as his first year playing center, and continues that moving forward as a trend for himself as becoming one of the top tier centers moving forward with more development. Puka Nacua has back-to-back 1,000-yard season and 100 reception season. And really looking for that 1,110 stat line. So 10 touchdowns, double-digit touchdowns for Puka Nacua. And then as far as the defensive side, let's look for Byron Young to get 12 sacks this year. Obviously with the Rams, where they focused on was definitely the defensive line. Edge rusher is where we focused on in the draft. So Byron Young should be getting some help, be able to alleviate some pressure on his side. And hopefully Shula can get creative with any kind of stunts or crosses that Byron Young and Jared Verse might be able to run off of each other to really open up gaps in the offensive line for either of those guys to go in there and make an impact. So far, updates from training camp. Quentin Lake definitely stepping up from what I've seen, definitely stepping up as a leader on the defense. He was the first defensive player to go and do a media interview after training camp, so that was excited. They're talking about putting him and having him start at that star position, play that position for the entire year. I think that's something that he can excel at. He was definitely a really ball hawking kind of safety in college. But the safety position was kind of eaten up last year by Yeast, by JJ the Third coming in. So I think the safety position is going to be locked up by Curl and Kitchens, honestly, and then JJ the Third kind of subbing in there. They're talking about John Johnson really being towards the end of his career. They didn't put it that way, but really managing his workload is what Sean McVay had said at one of his pressers. So it sounds like JJ might be more of a situational kind of person, whether they're going to have him just come in on third and run situations to play that safety position, or exactly how they want to play him. But let's look for Quentin Lake to really step up this year as a name on the defense, and hopefully Q gets his first pick of his career this year, and that he doesn't drop it this time. And the other thing that I was really excited to hear Q talk about in his press conference was the work that he put in during the off season. He was talking about being out there and in his own kind of training, and being out there and going up against Amon-Ra St. Brown, which we know he's a fantastic wide receiver in the NFL. He was a wide receiver one against the Lions, who unfortunately we lost in the playoffs to. And iron sharpens iron, especially in the NFL. So if you're going out there in the off season, you're practicing against bums, or you're practicing these things that really don't translate to the football field, it's gonna show year over year. And I really like the work that Lake has put into himself. So I see a huge step from year one to year two coming out of him. Tutu Atwell, he sounds really excited to be the dedicated kickoff return guy for the Rams. He's really excited about the new rules. Sounds like he's still kind of figuring out the strategy for how he wants to run things there. But there's going to be a lot more big returns this year in the NFL. There's going to be a lot more chances to return kickoffs this year. And honestly, with the rules and the touchback rules, there's going to be a lot of chances for there to be an extremely short field for offenses this year. So expect to see a lot more points, in my opinion, a lot more exciting plays on the kickoff, and just for the Rams to have a really strong season. So thank you guys so much. That was episode 1 of Ram It Radio. Definitely, please comment, like, subscribe. Let me know anything that you want me to talk about, any questions you might have. I am going to be at the training camp on Saturday for the Rams. So, if you see me out there, definitely I'd appreciate it if you said hi and, let me know any kind of feedback that you're looking for Rams content. From what I see, there's only a handful of channels outside of the official Ram channel that talk about our team, and there should be a lot more people talking about the Rams with the world-class organization that it's run from top to bottom, from ownership, GM, head coach, to the players on the team. Definitely love the Rams and excited to see what they can continue to do throughout the 2000s. If the Rams bring another Super Bowl within the 2000s, it could definitely be the Rams' decade. It could be our decade to solidify the Rams as one of the best franchises in the NFL. I am running a giveaway. Once I get to 5,000 subscribers, those 5,000 subscribers will be put into a raffle. Once I get to 5K subscribers, the raffle will begin. So anyone that comments on the videos with a blue and gold heart, I'm going to be have a running list as those 5,000 grows, and each video that you have a comment with a blue and gold heart will be an additional entry. So however many videos I have by the time I hit 5K, you could have as many entries as the videos that I have uploaded. Videos, shorts, I'll count everything. So I'm planning to kind of break this entire episode up into a couple of different shorts to put on YouTube, Instagram, things like that. But the giveaway is only going to be via YouTube. So make sure you're here on YouTube, you're subscribed, you're commenting. And I'm going to be raffling 2 Matthew Stafford jerseys. So continue following the page and let's grow together. Go Rams.